Police sent six officers to go and arrest a middle-aged couple for comments that they made in a WhatsApp group.
J.D. Vance, just a couple of weeks ago, at that conference in Munich, said that Europe was heading in the wrong direction, that it had become anti-free speech, that it had become pro-maximal control, that Europe was potentially returning to the bad old days. This little Mr. Bossy Boots, this Argentinian little who tango danced his way right out of justice. Was J.D. Vance correct when he made those claims about Europe? Well, let's have a little look to remind ourselves what he said before looking at my prison planet, UK, prison penitentiary island, rather, the UK. Let's see what J.D. Vance said, then let's look at what Keir Starmer's saying, then we're going to understand how globalist imperialist power operates so that we are forewarned and forearmed against this new kind of... Remember the old school fascism? Well, what does it look like now, kids? Let's get into it together. Here's J.D. Vance.
Germany's entire defense is subsidized by the American taxpayer. There are thousands upon thousands of American troops in Germany today. Do you think that the American taxpayer is going to stand for that if you get thrown in jail in Germany for posting a mean tweet? Of course they're not, right? So the point that I try to make to our European friends, and I think that they're our friends, I believe that, I know President Trump does, is that friendship is based on shared values. You do not have shared values if you're jailing people for saying we should close down our border. You don't have shared values if you cancel elections because you don't like the result, and that happened in Romania. You do not have shared values if you're so afraid of your own people that you silence them and shut them up.
That is an extraordinary piece of analysis from J.D. Vance. Now, elsewhere, Keir Starmer is talking about immigration. He proudly announces the number of people that have been deported from the UK. Now, you might think that's a good thing or a bad thing. I don't know what you think about that. Let me know in the comments and chat. What you can't query, though, is that Starmer he is emulating the language of the right that he previously opposed. Nigel Farage is a continual threat to the political establishment in the UK. Who's a nationalist and some would say right-wing figure. But isn't it interesting to note that Keir Starmer, while condemning the right and advocating for the kind of centralist left-wing statism that the right decries, is using their rhetoric where appropriate?
Well, since coming to office, I can announce today we've returned more than 24,000 people who have no right to be here.
No right to be here. If I catch one of them, I'll AIDS test them right down their dickhole.
That would have taken the Rwanda scheme 80 years to achieve.
He's referring to another gimmicky scheme. The previous incumbents of political power in the UK said they in fact did a deal with the country in Africa, Rwanda, where they said they were going to fly migrants from wherever they were from in the UK over to Rwanda in exchange for some sort of cash deal. It was regarded as a kind of gimmicky and sort of garish, somewhat stupid scheme. But in a way, it highlights the problem in the UK because the government we had prior to Keir Starmer's centralist WEF globalist imperialist government that we currently have now, which is some of you will regard as left-wing, but it ain't left-wing in terms of empowering ordinary people and empowering workers. It's left-wing in so much as they want taxpayer money to fund government institutions. That's one aspect of left-wing politics. But because we just had a failed, inverted commas, right-wing government with that ludicrous and outrageous pipsqueak Rishi Sunak, and before that, that bumbling turd of a man dipped in blonde pubes, Boris Johnson, the people of the UK don't know where to look. And because our country has long been secularised and has lost its connection to Christ and God more generally, and because across Europe there is a migration crisis that's exacerbating poverty and tensions, particularly in working class communities, one example being Luton, where Tommy Robinson and Andrew Tate, bizarrely, are both from. What we have now is a total state of despair. One very prominent political commentator in my country, and Adam Curtis, said that when the Labour government get in, presumably he said, because this was the time of the previous election, we are going to see unprecedented despair because that Labour government is captured. They're a globalist movement. They're not going to be able to govern in a way that benefits ordinary British people. Of course they're not. They're going to use empty and hollow rhetoric and crazy gimmicks, such as out the gimmicks of their latest migration drive there, which, by the way, note, is echoing tropes and ideas that have come from the right, whether you agree with them or not. That's not the point I'm making. Let's have a look at the rest of this propaganda from this weird dweeb.
80 years to achieve. That's what I mean about not giving in to gimmicks. Just focusing our efforts and resources on the nuts and bolts of removing people. Getting the asylum system working properly. That's how we've delivered the highest return rates for 8 years and the 4 biggest return flights ever. We're also ramping up the deportation of foreign national offenders with a new team of specialist frontline staff going into our prisons, speeding up the removal of prisoners who have no right to be in this country.
You've got no right to be in our prisons. Get out of our prisons. Have you had an AIDS test lately? Well, no, because it's not 1980. Well, you'll need one. Come on, Freddie Mercury could bum you at any minute. You've got to pay attention to the news. Watch out. Here comes Mark Ullman. Listen, people don't have AIDS anymore. You just take out the tablets for it. It's no problem. I don't want to be reductive, but I am. So that's how it comes out. Let's have a look now at the somewhat interesting story, given Keir Starmer's audacious claims about restoring Britain to some peculiar golden era, even though it's never looked more grey and drab to me, while actually jailing parents for stuff they've said on a WhatsApp chat. Have you heard this story? Let me know in the comments and chat. A private conversation on a phone about your kids at school has been spied on, and now people are getting arrested for it. Let's get into this story. Is this what J.D. Vance meant when he said that Europe is becoming a tyrannical place, and my country, the UK, in particular, is becoming a kind of island penitentiary?
Well, we were showing the Benny Hill British Police Force, but the truth is, of course, stranger than the comedy. This weekend, we've had the UK police arresting James and Rita, a dad, for comments that he made about his 9-year-old girl's school teachers on a WhatsApp.
Yes, this couple were held in a cell for 11 hours, arrested in front of their crying children.
Arrested in front of their crying children for comments on a WhatsApp group. Now, obviously, I don't know what these comments are, but what could you say in a WhatsApp message that would warrant being held, detained by the police for 11 hours in a country where you pay tax, being arrested in front of your crying children? Is this the democracy that British people deserve? Is this the green and pleasant land that William Blake declared in his epic hymn, Jerusalem? Yeah, ZHP Diddy, who is pushing this stuff? What they look for is opportunities to leverage control. What they look for is any way of shutting down opposition voices. What they benefit from is delirium. That's what globalism requires, a kind of global bewilderment where none of us know what to think or what to feel. Oh, is male and female real categories? Is the family a real thing? Is a country a real thing? No, nothing's real. We can make stuff up as we go along. You're in jail, you're in jail, you're a prisoner, you're a prisoner, you're being flown home. We can steal this policy from the right and this policy from the left. It's an extraordinary era that we are living in, and it takes right-wing Australian news, I believe that's their Sky channel over there, which is more akin to something like Fox over here, that's even reporting on it. Let me know in the comments and chat if you could even think of something that you could say on a WhatsApp chat about your kid's teacher that would warrant it. I mean, even if you're being foul and disgusting, it's a private conversation. What about free speech? What principle do you elevate? Well, in the case of the UK government, you elevate the principle that allows you maximum control. Always bear that algebraic equation in mind. Is the way they are governing and the way they're proselytizing about the way they're governing maximizing control? If the answer is yes, then by their fruits shall we know them. If their fruits are control, then the aim was control. Let me know in the comments and chat what you think about that. Free speech is under attack, but Rumble Premium refuses to back down. I won't back down. Like Thomas Petty, he won't back. He's actually dead. But we're actually better than Tom Petty. We've always believed in empowering voices, no matter how unpopular. Now we're taking the fight to the next level. When major advertisers conspired to pull their dollary dues, even brands like Dirty Dunkin' Donuts, which I think of as being a bit like the Dunkin' Donut of that Tesla guy that wiped his hand on his butt. Remember him, this guy? Dunkin' Donuts is the donut equivalent of that. The free speech hating pigs, claiming that Rumble had a right-wing culture. How dare they? I mean, look at just some of these comments. Rumble does not have a right-wing culture. We are doing our very best to include everyone. That's from Mr. A. Hitler. Look at this one. Rumble is my favourite site. I love it. I listen to it every night by firelight. That's from a Mr. Ku Klux Like, how can anyone have a problem with Rumble, one of the great stations? We're not here to fit a mold. We're here to defend free expression. That is the milk of free speech coming out of the tit, or just a tit, really. To strengthen this mission, we're excited to offer you Rumble Premium, a completely ad-free experience with exclusive benefits for viewers and creators. You'll find exclusive content from creators like Russell Brand. Hey, I'm him. Dr. Disrespect. That's my actual doctor. Timcast. Yeah, Timpo. The Mug Club. Yeah, go on, Crowder. We're going to come there. We're going to go on that show. It's more than a subscription. It's a stand for free speech. You're subscribing to freedom. Your voice matters. Join Rumble Premium. For a limited time, you can get $10 off an annual plan using the promo code BRAND. Visit rumble.com/premium, promo code BRAND. Together, we can turn the tide. Whether you join Rumble Premium or simply keep watching, your support helps keep free speech alive. Join Rumble Premium and help keep free speech alive, baby.
So you can just imagine how traumatised those poor kids are. And James, after a 5-week investigation, there's no case to answer. We don't know what they posted in that WhatsApp group that alerted the police and had so many of them show up to their home to arrest them.
How do they even know? How do they even know? Why are these people, these ordinary British people, getting arrested for stuff they're chatting about on their phone?
If you think there's free speech in the UK, you're kidding yourself at this point.
Exactly.
Well, you know, this is the thing. I mean, look at the footage you see there on the screen. The police sent 6 officers to go and arrest a middle-aged couple for comments that they made in a WhatsApp group. Now, we don't know what the comments were, so, you know, but there's no indication that they were anything sort of threatening or anything like that.
I don't care what the comments were. Do you? Let me know in the comments and chat. Unless they're saying we're going to murder those teachers, or here's a plan where we're going to plant gelignite in the school playground. Why don't we go in the gym, climb up the gym rope, put some dynamite in there? Why don't we go in the science class, turn on the Bunsen burners? You know, unless it's like actual plans for destruction, it's none of their business. It's covered by free speech. Let me know in the comments and chat if you agree with that.
The best indication that we've gotten from news reports is that they were complaining about the recruitment teacher for a new teacher at their school.
So it's presumably racist. It was presumably racist. Now, my personal perspective on racism is I don't agree with it. I don't agree with judging people on the basis of their ethnicity or their pigmentation or their culture, but indeed, as the great Martin Luther King said, on the content of their character. However, I don't think that the police and government are concerned with protecting people. I think they're concerned with controlling people. So they mask their control as care. That, again, is what the pandemic revealed to us. We have to protect you. Get in your homes. We have to protect you. Take these tablets. We have to protect you. Take this injection. We have to protect you. Do as you're told. We have to protect you. You can't share this information. It's extraordinary how much you can get away with if you claim that what you're doing is for the benefit of the nation. But there is just one question. Do you trust them? Do you trust them? Do you trust them with your money? Do you trust them with your children? Do you trust them with your soul? Do you believe you even have a soul? Because they don't believe you have a soul, and that's why they think they can do whatever they want whenever they want. If they want to arrest you, they're going to arrest you. And that's why they need TV shows where it becomes normal to vilify ordinary, I'm going to say it, working class people. They want to find ways to vilify ordinary working class people, because if everyone's a criminal, if everything's a crime, if anyone can be arrested, then it's down to the powerful to determine who to control and who to prosecute. Let me know if you agree with that.
We also know that the couple, that their eldest daughter at the school does have some epilepsy and neurodivergence issues, and they were not allowed to meet with the school to talk about these medical issues. So it sounds like these parents had a real grievance. But the fascinating thing here, well, fascinating but also chilling thing, is the way the UK has now become this sort of place where it's a real dystopia. You know, the cops knock on your door for saying the wrong thing online. And, you know, for the country that supposedly gave us free speech, that gave us the Areopagitica, which gave us all of these great defenses of liberty, to now be in this place where they charge you with a non-crime, hate crime or whatever, and the process is punishment, I think it's a disgrace.
Well, also, James, you say that we don't know what the crime is, what they said on that WhatsApp group, but nor does the guy who's being charged.
Yeah.
The police wouldn't even tell him what he'd actually said that was wrong.
But it was
I mean, that's
something...
terrifying.
You got to pull up the first page of Kafka's trial, because like if the guy getting arrested doesn't even know what he's getting arrested for, that shows you how power is shaping and morphing. Someone must have been telling lies about Joseph K. for suddenly he was arrested. It's something like that, but we'll do it. Let me know what you think about what's going on in the UK. Let me know if you are grateful that you chose nativism and populism over globalist imperialism, because that is the choice you're given. Now let's have a look at this aspect of the story. There are new sentencing guidelines that are introducing even more complexity into the criminal justice system in my country.
So sentencing guidelines published today that I've uncovered shows that you're less likely to go to jail for exactly the same crime if you're a woman, if you're an ethnic minority, if you're trans, if you're neurodiverse, if you're from a minority faith group, i.e. anyone who isn't Christian. It's outrageous. Frankly, it's blatant bias against straight, white men. People said that those of us who were worried about two-tier justice were wronged. The Deputy Prime Minister said that we were conspiracy theorists. Well, now we have it in the law of the land in black and white. There's two-tier justice under two-tier care.
That's an extraordinary claim that's being made there. Here's a piece from The Independent. Earlier this month, the council published new principles for courts to follow when imposing community and custodial sentences, including whether to suspend jail time. The updated guidance, which comes into force in April from now, someone from an ethnic, cultural or faith minority, along with groups such as young women, have to have additional guidance when it comes to sentencing. That is an extraordinary piece of legislation. But the thing that concerns me most is people having private conversations are being arrested. I don't think there's anything you should be able to say that doesn't pertain to an already existing crime like violence or arson or terrorism or whatever that should get you arrested. They are creating new categories of crime in order to augur new levels of control. But that's just what I think. Let me know what you think in the comments and the chat.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you want to see more uncensored content where free speech can flourish, join our live stream. Click the link right here to watch the next video if you want to, or become a member of a growing movement. Download the Rumble app and you'll be informed every time we make a new piece of content. Stay free.